In today's edition, Marco Rubio declares that Ukraine is, quote, not our war. Then, the new FDA Commissioner explains how the swamp actually works. And lastly, it seems that white college-age women are way outside of the norm when it comes to DEI policy.
I think it's important to remind everybody that the Ukraine war is a terrible thing, but it's not our war. We didn't start it. The United States has been helping Ukraine for over the last 3 years, and we want it to end.
Amen to that.
But it's not our war. I want everyone to understand that. And the reason why I make that point is the president has spent 87 days at the highest level of his government repeatedly taking efforts to bring this war to an end. We are now reaching a point where we need to decide and determine whether this is even possible or not, which is why we're engaging both sides. As you know, Ambassador Witkoff has had not one, not two, but 3 meetings with Vladimir Putin to determine the Russian perspective on this and understand what it would take for them to end it. We, through General Kellogg, myself, and others, have had repeated engagements with the Ukrainians. So we came here yesterday to sort of begin to talk about more specific outlines of what it might take to end the war, to try to figure out very soon, and I'm talking about a matter of days, not a matter of weeks, whether or not this is a war that can be ended. If it can, we're prepared to do whatever we can to facilitate that and make sure that it happens, that it ends in a durable and just way. If it's not possible, if we're so far apart that this is not going to happen, then I think the president's probably at a point where he's going to say, well, we're done. You know, we'll do what we can on the margins. We'll be ready to help whenever you're ready to have peace. But we're not going to continue with this endeavor for weeks and months on end. So we need to determine very quickly now, and I'm talking about in a matter of days, whether or not this is doable over the next few weeks. If it is, we're in. If it's not, then we have other priorities to focus on as well.
So it sounds like they're in the midst of negotiations and things are going rough. Now, I mean, what else should we expect from this whole situation? I mean, a brutal war. They hate each other's guts, and neither one of them wants to give an inch. But my question is, where are the real hangups? I would be really interested to know. Is it mostly on the Russian side? Is it mostly on the Ukrainian side? Is it even? It seems to me that Ukraine is not in a particularly strong bargaining position, and it would be in their interest to move quickly. But if Zelensky keeps clinging to kind of his past stance, this war might continue on, indefinitely. And that would be, meanwhile, we have a new commissioner at the FDA in Washington, D.C. And he explains how it is that the swamp creatures came calling just before his confirmation.
When I got this nomination for the job, I cannot tell you how many lobbyists, former members of Congress, the swamp reached out to me. This is the swamp. I mean, I was in the operating room, and the next day I discovered what the swamp was.
You were swampy, surrounded by the swamp creatures.
Surrounded by the swamp creatures, and immediately, this is how it happens. We want to help you with your confirmation. We want to write a letter on behalf of our company to the senators on your committee. We know these senators. We're going to talk to them if it's okay with you. And you know what I said? Don't talk to the senators. I don't want your letters. They're not for free. Those are obligations that then you feel indebted to return once you're in office. And I'd rather not get confirmed into this job than have those obligations.
Oh, right on.
This guy has a new fan in me. I will say, this is how Washington works. Look, it goes like this. You do me a favor, I do you a favor. We keep doing each other favors until we're both rich. Rich and powerful. That is. Lastly, MSNBC has an interesting poll where it shows that if one is white, one is probably very much against diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI policies, which are discriminatory by their very nature. However, there is one group of white folks who are fans, generally speaking, in really almost polar opposites of the rest of the white folks. And that is college-educated women, white women. And that stands to reason because there is no group that benefits more from DEI than college-educated white women.
See this. White women with at least a college degree, the only group of white voters that really kind of is on the left politically, aligned with progressive causes, democratic politics. Give you an example here. It's that DEI question, right here that we asked about in our poll. We had two big statements we read to voters. Basically, do you want to continue DEI programs or do you think they should be ended? And again, look at this divide here. White men, no degree, end it. White men with a degree, end it, they say. White women, no degree, end it, they say, by double digits. And then white women with a college degree, completely different by a nearly 40-point margin.
Well, is anyone surprised?